culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Happy Monday, everybody. How was your weekend? I really do hope you had a wonderful weekend. Let me tell you, I had a time waking up today. I had like some pretty bad sleep, and I'll get into why that is. And per usual, I will be seeking you guys' advice on that because it's about like when you normally sleep well, but then when you sleep with someone else, you share a bed and that person's sleeping patterns kind of disrupt your own. Let's talk about it, okay? Shout out to Fahima for becoming a channel member. Thank you so much for your support. Happy Monday, Ali. It is so nice to see you here again. Oh my God, the comments are rolling in. Dusty Slayer, good morning, Grace in chat. Hi, everybody. So nice. And thank you for asking, Ali. The get-together went really, really well. So for those of you who are not aware, over the weekend, well, Saturday, I had a raclette party with my friends, which is basically, and let me put up a picture of what it looks like. So we're just eating potatoes, cheese, meat, and those little cornichons, the mini pickles and whatnot, and salad. And it was absolutely amazing. We had a great time. We ate well. We gossiped well, not about other people, but about our own lives anyway. And we also played board games. So we played something called Dissit. And so basically it's like a series of cards, and like you're supposed to like come up with a theme, put down your card, everybody gives cards, and then you're supposed to guess whose card that was. Do you guys know that game? Because that's what we played, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time doing that. Then we played an extreme version of Uno, and then everybody went home around 2 a.m. It really was a wonderful time. Merry Christmas to you too, Brandy. And I'm seeing a comment from Sonia saying 9 a.m. where I'm at. Oh, that's awesome. See, that's why I chose 10 a.m. because I feel like for East Coast, it's like, pretty decently in the morning without being too early. Then West Coast, it's 7 a.m., which for some people, it's like, okay, well, while you're getting your, hair and makeup or whatever, driving, well, hopefully not driving anyway, getting ready to go to work and whatnot. Guys, we've got so much to discuss. In fact, I did have a question for you guys. Holiday breakups. Is it fair to break up with somebody just before Christmas? So today is the 23rd of December. So let's say you're in a relationship with somebody and you no longer want to be in a relationship with this person. Now, it's too late for this person to come up with alternative plans for the holidays. Would it be fair to break up with them at this point, or would you prefer to break up with them after Christmas, like perhaps the 26th or the 27th or something like that? I personally, and we discussed this with my friends at our dinner party, I personally would wait until after Christmas because I would imagine that like the person already put a lot of effort into like buying a gift for me. We had already talked about like, celebrating together. Now it's too late for the other person to have plans with other people, like I feel like it would be worse to even like, I feel like it's like, I would rather have a breakup discussion during Christmas than to be broken up with and just left alone, for Christmas. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Let me know in the chat. And Tadisha, it is so nice to see you here. Another one of my OGs. Welcome, everybody. You guys, it is so nice to see you here. So that was a little bit of a mic check, and I'm starting to see you guys' comments roll in about the holiday breakup. Norway, how beautiful. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. And yes, to my cheese gang. So save your money in the gift. No, they wouldn't save money in the gift because you're breaking up with them on the 23rd. And typically a person would have already bought your gift earlier. For example, I bought my Christmas gifts in November. So if someone were to break up with me right now and it's too late for me to return these gifts, I'd be a bit upset. Well, I'd probably try to find someone else to regift them to or perhaps sell them. But I'd be kind of like, damn, like you couldn't have done this earlier. Like, especially if the person tells you like, hey, like I've known for a while that I felt this way. Like, I don't know that it's fair. Tadisha says afterwards, Rose says, good morning. It's so nice to see you. Okay, after Christmas, before New Year's, I am of that too. So I'm 26, 27, 28th of December. So thank you guys so much for your feedback on that. Now let's get into the sleep. Another question for you guys, mic check 1 2 1 2. So let me know if you're watching live or if you're part of my playback posse or VOD squad. Let me know in the comment section. Sleep. How do you guys manage sleeping with someone who has a very disruptive sleep habits? For example, someone with night terrors. That happened to me last night. So my lover, he has terrible night terrors. He'll wake up like in a panic, screaming, all sorts of stuff. And it wakes me up and it disrupts my sleep. And this happened like 2-3 times last night. So today I was so exhausted. Like I got up for the final time at like 6 a.m. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm too tired. I have to like go back to sleep. And I didn't wake up again until like noon. So I'm kind of curious if you guys have any tips on managing that. So I'll keep an eye out in the chat and I'll also keep an eye out in the comment section for those of you in my playback posse who might leave comments later. So the majority of this episode, you guys, of the morning report, I have to tell you, is going to revolve around the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama and lawsuit. My jaw just swung open. You would have thought it was dislocated when the news broke over the weekend that Blake Lively was suing Justin for harassment. At that point, I had all but forgotten about the movie and all of the drama associated with the movie. So to see that lawsuit come through, especially when the overarching narrative about the film and all of the issues with the film was that Blake was a difficult person. She was tone deaf. She was this, she was that. And then her husband, Ryan, came in and he was very controlling and it was messing with production. So I would have thought that if anything, a lawsuit coming out, it would have been Justin suing Blake for, or perhaps even Ryan Reynolds. But to see now that she sued him and then to read the text messages, the emails, she had everything. It's like Heather from Salt Lake City says, text messages, emails, timeline, proof, everything. It's not looking good for Justin. I believe Blake, and I am just horrified at the fact that this smear campaign was so successful. And I think that the success of the smear campaign, despite all of the stuff that Justin was allegedly doing behind the scenes, to me, it proves that as a whole, society hates women and society is always looking for an excuse and a reason to just pounce on, destroy humble women. And it just makes me so sad to see that. It really does. I don't know if you guys came to the same kind of feeling, realization, conclusion or not when that came out, but oh my God, I was horrified by the text messages that I read. In fact, I do have some of them screenshotted here that I wanted to share with you guys because it's there, it's in black and white. It is really, really difficult to deny this. And not only are these some of the you see more of it in the lawsuit, but they said there were thousands of pages and they were just being concise in the ones that they did show, and did they. Okay, so this is one of the ones that you see between one of Justin's PR reps, Jennifer Abel and Melissa. And so Jennifer is saying the narrative online is so freaking good and fans are still sticking up for Justin. And there literally has been no pickup of those 2 articles, which is actually shocking to me. But I see this as a total success, as does Justin. So the 2 articles were in reference to Justin's own alleged on-set behavior. So let's get into some of the allegations that Blake was making against Justin, shall we? She sued him and his production company, The Wayfarer, and she said that he was doing a lot of very disturbing things, such as improvising gratuitous sexual content, scenes involving nudity, asking her very weird questions about whether or not she climaxes simultaneously with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, talking to her about his corn addiction, having his friend come in and watch her shoot a birthing scene, like where she's got like pretty much nothing in the nether regions and stuff except like a little piece of cloth. He was also allegedly trying to push her into shooting a birthing scene nude. This man allegedly told a woman who personally has given birth 4 times, hey, like, we got to shoot this nude because women typically give birth nude. You're talking to a woman who gave birth and you're saying that? Insane. Yes, Cam, there were text messages. So you see text messages between Justin and his PR people, the PR people amongst themselves. And the PR people were talking about being so proud of the fact that they were able to bury Blake. They said they could destroy anybody. Like, this truly was a targeted attack, and it is scary. And they even did something called astroturfing. And this is all alleged, by the way, but they allegedly did something called astroturfing, which is where they have actual, like you guys have YouTube accounts, for example, right? Where you're here in the chat, you're communicating with me. I imagine you also have Instagram accounts. You've got TikTok accounts, or you've got Reddit. Not all of them, necessarily, but some of them. So they have these accounts that they use to just negatively speak about Blake. And so when you've got all these messages where everyone's got the same overall kind of like idea about this person, people believe that, and it truly damaged Blake's brand, And I have to say though, like, although I believe Blake and everything that she's saying, and I think it's terrible what went down there, I don't think it helped her case the way that she decided to go ahead and launch a hair care brand in the middle of promoting a film about DV. I don't think it was smart to promote her non-alcoholic seltzers during a press run about this film either, and I don't think it was smart to be doing interviews talking about wear your florals, bring your friends, because, and this was explained though in the PR plan. The PR plan said, listen, you guys, we're not going to be doom and gloom about this story. This is a story of triumph. Like, in the end, Lily Bloom does triumph. So that's what she was going for. But I think there is a difference between, a message of triumph and seriousness and saying wear your florals and bring your friends. You know what I mean? And I kind of wonder how you guys feel about that. So please let me know in the chat. I'm about to pull up some of your comments. So once again, thank you so much for joining me here for another edition, a live edition of the Morning Report. So Ali says that she needs more context surrounding the explicit images and details about the conquest. How did she get those text messages? Great question. So Blake Lively's legal team actually subpoenaed the PR firm that was handling crisis management for Justin Baldoni. So that is how they were able to get these text messages. And Rose, thank you for hitting that on the head. So for those of you who might still be on the fence or who might be Team Justin in this, let's talk about how nobody is supporting him aside from his own paid, crisis managers. Okay. And it's always the people that LARP around as feminists, pro-women. You got to keep an eye out on them. And the men who wear the nail polish. How many times do you see these men like, I am breaking, toxic masculinity or hegemonic masculinity. I'm wearing nail polish. Then it comes out that they treat women like trash in their private lives, And another thing I got to tell y'all, I met Justin Baldoni back when I used to do like PR. Like I used to do award shows, like Emmy Awards, these sorts of things for a company I worked for, like the gifting suites. And I met this guy, and I was shocked because having had met this guy, he seemed like a really, really nice person, like a nice normal, like he was so talkative and just so cool with so many people there and stuff like that. So, that aspect really, really shocked me as well. Cause you see some of these people in real life, if you do that line of work, and some of them are just as bad as you read about, like when I met Emma Roberts, she was just as bad as you would, I've read about, same with, actually it's kind of sad, but like, I felt like the women were meaner than the men in the celebrity world. Cause there was also some Maggie Gyllenhaal. She was also rather rude. But like the men were spectacular. LL Cool J. You know who else was actually rather rude? Let me talk about a man who was really, really rude. What's the name of that guy with the gap teeth who went from football to morning hosting? That guy, super rude. Like it felt like this guy hated my guts, and I don't even know why. I didn't know the man, and I was offering him free things, free expensive things. Anyway, bref. So let's get into all of the people who are sticking up for Blake Lively, because Rose did raise a very good point, which is that, it speaks volumes that first of all, when they were doing the press tour for this movie, even though we were hearing about all of like the discord between the two of them, we noticed that a lot of stars of this movie had actually unfollowed Justin Baldoni or were not posing with pictures with him and other things that pointed to kind of issues going on between them, right? So to me, that also helps me, you know, in addition to obviously seeing the text messages, that helps me to say, hey, listen, like Blake, I'm riding with you, girl. So let's talk about the author of the book that was eventually transformed into this movie, Colleen Hoover. When this news broke, she posted a photo of her and Blake Lively engaged in a warm embrace. And she said, Blake Lively, you've been nothing but honest, kind, supportive, and patient since the day we met. Thank you for being exactly the human that you are. Never change, never wilt. So she very obviously is pro Blake in all of this. And I think that speaks volumes because, again, it's Justin who wanted to get this film adapted, this book adapted into a movie. It's his production company that is behind this book turning into a wildly successful movie. And the author is going on the record to say, I stand with Blake Lively. How do you guys feel about that? What do you think that kind of shows about what really truly was going on behind the scenes? And now I do thank you guys. His name was Michael Strahan. That guy, not a fan at all. Tanisha says it's not looking good for Justin. It truly isn't. Again, they've got thousands of pages, not thousands of messages, thousands of pages of messages. And I have to say, this PR company sounds like it was run by idiots. How do you go and put all that type of self-incriminating like information, data in writing? These should have been only exclusive to video meetings, you know? Like it's just insane. In-person meetings, video meetings, nothing more, nothing less. And then they also talked about some of the outlets that were featured in this attack. So you could see Justin Baldoni's team sharing screenshots of the Daily Fail, you know, writing hit pieces about Blake Lively. Who else has the Daily Fail been known to harass relentlessly? I'm sure we all know who that is. This attack against Blake Lively is not the first or the last time that an attack like this has been levied against a woman in Hollywood or a public-facing woman. You know, I think that, you know, now we got to go back and re-examine what really happened with Amber, what's her face, who's with Johnny Depp. Why am I going to say Amber Rose? It's not that one. Amber something. You know, we got to see the way that Meghan Markle is being attacked relentlessly all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and again, in Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. Yes, they both had a lot of issues in this relationship, but at the end of the day, this was a man who went for a woman who was like 20 something years his junior. And he was rich and powerful. And she was starting out like, yeah, she had books, some things, but nothing major. There was a major imbalance in age, life experience, and finances as well, you know, and it was wholly inappropriate. So there's that. Ali says they tackled a sensitive topic without sensitivity. However, the vitriol that she received, she never should have gotten. I agree. Blake Lively is not without her faults, but who is in this world, right? And I don't think that she deserved that, you know, despite anything else that she has done in the past. Now we got to get into, hi Dana, nice to see you. Welcome and happy holidays to you and to everybody watching as well. So there are other people aside from the author who are supporting Blake against Justin Baldoni. And those also include her former co-stars. One of Blake Lively's breakout roles was in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Quick question. Have you guys ever watched that movie? I personally have never watched that movie. In fact, I'm going to go look for it. Maybe that's what I'm going to do like holiday time, watch the movie. But I read the book and I loved the book. Okay. I always talk about this, but my parents were super strict growing up. They were kind of like, I don't want to say like religious nuts. So now this should be working better. So I couldn't really watch a lot of movies and stuff growing up, but I could read books. And so, you know, I read a lot when it came to, you know, Gossip Girl, the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So I definitely was familiar with Blake earlier on in her career. So now her former co-stars Amber Tamblyn, America Ferrera are speaking out, and they're saying, and I quote, "As Blake's friends and sisters for over 20 years, we stand with her in solidarity as she fights back against the reported campaign waged to destroy her reputation. Throughout the filming of It Ends With Us, we saw her summon the courage to ask for a safe workplace for herself and colleagues on set. And we are appalled to read the evidence of a premeditated and vindictive effort that ensued to discredit her voice. Most upsetting is the unabashed exploitation of domestic violence survivors' stories to silence a woman who asked for safety. The hypocrisy is astounding." There is a second page to this, but I want to point out that part where they say that that last line there, where they talk about how Justin was exploiting DV survivor stories to silence a woman who was asking for safety. So in some of the screenshots of text messages that Blake Lively's team subpoenaed from Justin Baldoni's team, you see Justin asking his PR team, and his PR team also talking about this. They're saying, listen, Blake is currently being skewered for approaching this in a very light way, despite the fact that this was in the PR plan that he and his team initially came up with, right? She's being skewered for it. So now we have to go on the offensive, which means that we have got to get Justin out there talking about DV, shining the light on DV, and, kind of having a better light on him in light of what is going on with Blake. Like, so yeah, he truly was, if all of this is true, because it's all alleged, right? He really was weaponizing survivors' stories in order to come out on top in his battle against Blake Lively. And I find that to be reprehensible. Now, the second part of their statement, second half, says, "We are struck by the reality that even if a woman is as strong, celebrated, and resourced as our friend Blake, she can face forceful retaliation for daring to ask for a safe working environment. We are inspired by our sister's courage to stand up for herself and others. For anyone seeking more information or engaging in this important conversation online, please read in full the legal complaint in the investigative reporting by Megan Twohy, Mike McIntyre, and Julie Tate for the New York Times, Amber Ferrera, Amber Tamblyn, and Alexis Bledel." And I gotta tell you guys, their collective uprising on behalf of their friend Blake, it brings tears to my eyes because it is so beautiful to see that in the face of all of this, when Blake was considered brand poison, right? When it wasn't a good thing to be associated with her or anything like that, these girls are coming together, standing up and saying like, hey, back off. The proof is out there. We're going to get as many eyes on the proof as possible and ride for her. And in my opinion, the fact that Blake has this kind of support from women that she worked with 20 years ago on a movie is incredible. And I think it speaks a lot to her character. Again, is Blake perfect? No. Has Blake done a lot of terrible things like her plantation wedding and her glorification of the antebellum slave era? Like, yeah, she's done a lot of terrible things. She's got a lot of terrible views. But at the end of the day, she still is a victim if what she is alleging against Justin Baldoni in court is true. And she never deserved to go through any of that. Nobody deserves to go through any of that, especially when they are just trying to work and get a job done. How sad is it that she's doing a film about DV, while being traumatized in the process, Sonia Lopez has a comment here. It says, "I saw right through him, to be honest. His holier than thou attitude gave it away for me." Listen, and I know exactly what you mean, because there is like a certain arrogance that men who want to be, seen as these saviors of women that they have, as they try to cover up their own tracks. And again, I do have to ask you guys, let me know in the live chat if you are here watching live, my wonderful co-reporters, or if you're part of my VOD Squad playback posse, let me know in the comment section. But were you able to read in full the lawsuit over the weekend? Were you able to read the New York Times article as well? I do have to tell you that after I shoot this, I will be filming a Real Housewives of Potomac recap live with Kempire and Layla Lynn on Kempire's channel. So please do make sure to check us out over there. And I do also say that to tell you that unfortunately, right now in this live, I will not be able to read it in full. However, if you'd like, I would be more than happy to go ahead and read the full lawsuit with you guys in a separate live. And I would also be more than happy to go ahead and read the New York Times article with you guys as well. So do make sure to let me know in the live chat or in the comment section if you are watching the playback. Okay, you guys? Casey says that hiring Johnny Depp's lawyers gave it away and his PR firm gave it away. Rose says that we need to bring back trusting actual proof / evidence. If Blake has damning evidence, whatever side opinions we have of her or Justin goes out the window. The truth is the truth. Thank you. Because unfortunately, a lot of people, they turn a blind eye to things when they do not like people, you know, and this reminds me of, speaking of Real Housewives of Potomac, but Giselle Evans from the Real Housewives of Giselle, what is wrong with my brain today? Listen, I didn't get to sleep well. Giselle, whatever, from the Real Housewives of Potomac. She saw a woman get beat up and get a drink thrown out on her for literally no reason. And when asked why she was okay with that, thank you, Kim, Giselle Bryant. You know why she was okay with that? You know, when prior she said that violence is never the answer, what did she say? I'm okay with it because I do not like her. That is not okay. We cannot excuse violence against people. We cannot excuse harassment against people just because we do not like those people, you know? So keep an eye out for all of this, you guys, and let me know if you would like for me to go ahead and read that. I'm seeing Tadisha says yes. So keep an eye out. I will definitely get on that. So let's get into some of the complaints because I feel like I'm kind of skimming over them. I do want to kind of get into a little bit of the New York Times article. Speaking of you guys wanting me to read it, I'm going to do the opening paragraph. It says, quote, during shooting, Blake Lively, the co-star, had complained that the men had repeatedly violated physical boundaries and made sexual and other inappropriate comments to her. Their studio, Wayfarer, agreed to provide a full-time intimacy coordinator, bring in an outside producer, and put other safeguards on set. In a side letter to Ms. Lively's contract signed by Mr. Heath, the studio also agreed not to retaliate against the actress, which is incredible because now we're getting proof that that's exactly what they allegedly did. But by August, the two men, who had positioned themselves as feminist allies in the Me Too era, expressed fears that her allegations would become public and taint them, according to a legal complaint that she filed Friday. It claims that their PR effort had an explicit goal to harm Ms. Lively's reputation instead. In her legal filing, Lively accused Baldoni in her legal complaint of inserting, quote, improvised gratuitous sexual content and or scenes involving nudity into It Ends With Us without her consent and entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her baby. And an attorney for Wayfarer, the production company, they spoke out to defend Justin and themselves. They said in a statement to the New York Times that the studio, its executives, and public relations representatives, quote, did nothing proactive nor retaliated against Ms. Lively and accused the actress of another, quote, desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation. These claims are completely false, outrageous, and intentionally salacious with an intent to publicly hurt and rehash a victim a narrative in the media, the lawyer Brian Friedman wrote. The lawyer also did not address her allegations about misconduct during the filming by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. He alleged that Ms. Lively planted negative and completely fabricated and false stories with media about Mr. Baldoni, which he said was another reason why Wayfarer Studios made the decision to hire a crisis professional. Now, we do also have to talk about how foolish Justin's team was. Not only the fact that they had written all of this stuff, like, you know, in black and white in order, like as if they wanted to get caught one day, but one of the PR people in question, you know, in those screenshots that I had shown you, her name is Jennifer Abel, and I'm taking a screenshot for you guys right now to show you what she has said in writing in a Facebook group in the middle of an active case. She is now trying to defend herself. and all of her colleagues by saying, hey, listen, I think that this was only leaked because I decided to leave that other firm and move on and work for my own firm. And let me go ahead and pull up that screenshot for you guys because it is a mess and a half. It really feels like these people have no kind of technology training despite being so young. Like, why are you commenting on this live? You are a PR professional. You should know. Why didn't the lawyer come and tell you guys not to speak on this in public? So here's her Facebook account. And this is what she says verbatim. I never thought the day would come when I needed to defend myself with my own peers, but this is certainly has been an interesting and devastating, quite frankly, couple of days. So here we are. But here are the facts. No, I was never subpoenaed. I found out my private text messages and emails were included in the complaint after I received it on Friday night, and then the New York Times contacted me 1.5 hours after receipt. They had already reviewed the 80-page document and had questions prepared, and apparently also received, quote, thousands of pages of documents with our correspondence that we never saw. So it was clear this was a coordinated effort, but nothing we haven't seen before, since I've been working in talent PR for over 15 years now. I had recently left my previous firm, at which I was still with during this campaign, with a team who all participated in the campaign and a boss who oversaw and who had access to my work emails and my work phone. So you can deduce from that what you will. So basically she's saying the narrative that Blake and her team had access to this information through a subpoena is false. In fact, I think that my old boss went ahead and leaked this stuff, on me. And that is why I'm finding myself in the situation that I am currently finding myself in. And I got to be honest with y'all, apart from thinking that she's very foolish to even be speaking out on this, like on Facebook, I have to ask, do you think that she's telling the truth? Are you of the belief that this information was subpoenaed via Blake Lively's legal team? Or do you think that someone is out to get her and the other people, and that is why this information was put out there? I can't imagine someone who, quote, participated in this stuff and has legal liability, right? I can imagine them going, oh, hey, let me go ahead and leak this to Blake Lively. It wouldn't serve them because it gets them in hot water as well. And it also ruins their own reputation. So I do have to say really quickly here, I'm seeing some of you guys' live comments here from Brittany and from Candace and from some other people as well. When it comes to the text messages and the claims and whatnot, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and create a separate live stream where I read it all, the full complaint and where all the text messages, and go into deep detail about the claims that Blake is making against Justin, because there are a lot of them and there's not enough time in a 1 hour stream to go through them. So I think that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get this for today. Listen, after the stream, I am doing Campfire stream. Then I'm going to go do a little bit of groceries, come back and do that stream. So keep an eye out. I will mention a time in my community tab, okay, where we can go over everything in full, because it's a lot. It really, really is. And if you're just joining, I'm seeing some of you guys' messages about joining now. So thank you so, so much for hopping on here. It is so nice to see all of you. If you are enjoying the stream, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up so that Google knows, not Google, but YouTube knows that you are enjoying my content and that you want to see more of it. Okay, you guys, thank you so, so much for being here. So in the second part, she did have another set of text messages. So once again, these text messages that we're reading here are from one of Justin Baldoni's PR representatives who has gone on Facebook to try and defend herself against all of these allegations. And so she's saying, hey, Blake's team is lying. They did not subpoena this information. There is a leak. There is a mole somewhere in our camp that hand-fed this information to her and her team on a silver platter. So I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of it. Okay, you guys. So this is the second thing that she had to say here, the second page. What the cherry-picked messages don't include, although not shockingly as it doesn't fit the narrative, is that there was no, quote, smear implemented. No negative press was ever facilitated, no social combat plan, although we were prepared for it as it's our job to be ready for any scenario. But we didn't have to implement anything because the internet was doing the work for us. Sure, we talked about it, contemplated if we needed certain things, but hey, hang on, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up so you guys can read it along with me. It's finally up here in my StreamYard base. I'm going to go ahead and upload it because I know you guys want to dot your T's and cross your I's alongside me. So here it is. Sure, we talked about it, contemplated if we needed certain things, flagged accounts that we needed to monitor, worked with the social team to help us stay on top of the narrative so we could act quickly if needed. And yes, we rejoiced and joked in the fact that fans were recognizing our clients' heart and work without us having to do anything but keep our heads down and focus on positive interviews for our client. As the texts show, we sophomorically reveled and again joked privately to each other about the internet's feedback to the woman whose team was making our lives incredibly difficult over the course of the campaign. I'm human. The long hours, months of preparation on top of my day-to-day scope, it felt good to see that although we were prepared, we didn't have to do anything over the top to protect our client. Let's see. Is there more? Yeah, so basically his team is doubling down and saying, listen, we did nothing wrong. The audience was the one that that supported him from the beginning. But what Jennifer is saying here is not necessarily true, because in those text messages that Blake included in her lawsuit, you can very clearly say that they were activating social media accounts. They were, quote, doing great on Reddit and other things. And they needed a Hailey Bieber caught astray, by the way. Remember when there was that big Twitter article that went viral where it was saying that she she's just a very mean girl and stuff like that? Justin sent that screenshot to his team and said, hey, we need something like this on Blake. So it was very, very clear that this was what they were planning to do and things that they were actually actively doing. Exactly. They're confirming the messages, and it was not smart. It really was not smart. Colton, I see your comment here. Let me go ahead and start that so I can get to that after. Hey, Kate, she's doing damage control. Doesn't matter how they got the text. She said what she said, not a girl's girl. Completely agree. Colton, your message here made me laugh. A lawyer I know once told me, they say email stands for evidence mail. I think it's true. So guys, keep this in mind. When you are sending emails, when you are sending text messages, and it is a very delicate subject, think twice. Ask to meet in person, do it as a phone call, or you know what else you can do on WhatsApp, because I'm primarily a WhatsApp girly. You can send it as a one-time view, kind of like the Snapchat photos and stuff like that, as a one-time view, as a one-time listen, and that's that. The person cannot screenshot, the person cannot screen record the thing, and it's gone, okay? And even still, there are still holes there. They can have a secondary device to catch you on, but be careful out there. And most importantly, just keep things in a more positive light, so you don't even have to do all that, right? Or a less scandalous light. Justin going up against a billionaire couple, he doesn't stand a chance. I completely agree, Jade. Shell says, give me a break, Grace. Blake is a way bigger celebrity, and most people that work with her cannot stand her, even the Gossip Girl co-stars. I still believe she's twisting things to get her image back. But here's the thing, her old co-stars from even before the Gossip Girl era, which is the girls from the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, they are all standing behind Blake. And like I said, she is not without her faults. She has said and done a lot of terrible things, but she doesn't deserve what it is that she's claiming happened here. We cannot categorically say that everything that she is alleging is true, because it's still set to go through its due process. But I think she's provided a lot of very, 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 very strong evidence. And, again, for those of you who are just joining me, I will be reading the full complaint later on today. So keep an eye out for that. I will post a link for the live later on for you guys, okay? And just a little bit of an update there. Justin was fired from WME Talent Agency. Mind you, Blake Lively is also represented by WME. So listen, when it comes to Justin versus Blake, they had to choose Blake. Can you let me know in the chat, or if you're part of my playback posse, or if you are in my VOD squad, let me know in the comment section later on. But is it true that Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, is also represented by WME? So it seems as though the agency chose the couple over Justin Baldoni. Listen, I don't blame them for dropping Justin based off of the evidence presented in this lawsuit. It's a lot. It really, really is. Okay, you guys, now we got to get off that story. We spent an awful lot of time on it, and I do have one other story that I did find to be rather interesting, and it is about Jeff Bezos. There are rumors going out that Jeff Bezos is planning a $600 million wedding, and Jeff Bezos is finally here to set the record straight. Okay. Well, first of all, I got to ask you guys, if it is true that he is spending $600 million on a wedding, how do you feel about that, given the state of the world? And also, I got a question for those of you who believe this to be true. Where would the budget go? Because here's my thing. If you're spending $600 million, private jets, transportation for everybody going to be there, maybe you're going to rent out something major like the pyramids or the Great Wall of China or something. I don't know. Maybe you are giving everyone like caviar to drink, to eat, caviar toilet paper. Like, I cannot imagine $600 million. Like, I don't know where people got this number from, but he has officially gone on the record to say, and I quote, "This is not credible. Unless you're buying each of your guests a house, you can't spend this much money. Furthermore, this whole thing is completely false. None of this is happening. The old adage, don't believe everything you read, is even more true today than it has ever been. Now lies can get all the way around the world before the truth can get its pants on. So be careful out there, folks, and don't be gullible." Listen, kudos to you, Jeff Bezos, for going out here, nipping the story in the bud and reminding people we can't just be believing anything, that's on the internet. $600 million is just not possible. Like you said, you would have to be buying everyone a house, and I think you'd be having to buy everyone a yacht too. Maybe just maybe golden bidets, golden, water. They're drinking gold. Maybe they're, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so much money. It wouldn't be possible. Perhaps the gifts. I don't know. Here's the thing. I will say though, a $6 million wedding to me seems plausible, but I think I can see him spending even more than $6 million, to be honest with you guys, because guess what? Someone of his net worth and someone of his, celebrity level, especially in light of people, thirsting for the blood of CEOs and billionaires, I think he would need a lot of security, right? So I think security already would cost a good $1 to $2 million. Then on top of that, I do believe that he would probably offer to pay for the transportation of his guests. And I believe that the wedding gifts are going to be very pricey. I believe that he's paying for, the stays of the people. It might be over multiple days, like different things like that, different activities, excursions. So I can see that. But $600 million is too much. It's far, far, far too much. But I will also say that it makes me sad, the fact that we can even think and theorize that someone can spend this much money on one day, because it is true. If he wants to, he can go ahead and spend $600 million on one day and not even blink twice. And to me, that's a problem. It really, really is. Like, I don't think it should be that way. I got to tell you, the amount of poverty that I've seen since moving to Paris, has been just extreme. Like the homeless crisis is just so extreme here. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, back home as a suburban girl, in Ottawa. Even when I was living in the city of Ottawa, at the time when I was living there, we had a handful of homeless people. But here it has been extreme. Even when I went to London the other week, at the beginning of the month, there was this man on the train. He got on the train to stay warm. And he had these pants that were so ripped. He had shoes that were open. The holes were so big. His feet were exposed. And he was just frostbitten. like he was freezing cold. He had nothing. And just to think that there are people like that walking around like that, first of all, in a country that has royalty, is insane to me. There's no reason to have royalty when people are walking around like this, right? And then when someone has the money to go ahead and spend $600 million on a wedding, right? Insane. It's insane. And I really do hope that we are able to get this problem under control. I think it's great that people are able to build these huge companies and make a lot of money, but I don't think anyone should have several $billion dollars. Maybe even $1 or $2 billion is fine, but anything over that, even that already is generous. It's too much, and it makes me sad. It really does. Candace says, I went to Paris in August. I heard they kicked all the homeless people out for the Olympics. They did, not everyone, of course, but they managed to get a good amount, bussed out to different cities. But the problem, still persists. And, a lot of them are back, you still see a lot of them, that's for sure. And it's just sad. Pop-Tart, I'm so glad housing support exists in the UK. But listen, I had never seen someone the way that I saw that guy over there in London with his jeans, just torn down the sides, the shoes open and everything, just frozen. It's so sad. It really, really is. We definitely have to think about these people as the holidays come by. Christmas is not just about spending time with family, friends, opening gifts. I do think it's also a time to reflect on, how fortunate you are compared to other people. Listen, we're not billionaires, unless some of you guys are billionaires. If so, let me know. But we're not billionaires, you know what I mean? So sometimes you think about that, hey, like I don't have what these people have, but at the same time, like there's a lot of people who would kill to have what you have. And so maybe, it's a time to think about, are there clothes in my closet that I don't wear that I can give away? Are there any non-perishables that I can donate to a soup kitchen or something like that? Because there's a lot of people really, really, really struggling and suffering. I think they try to make you think, oh, poverty only exists in like this continent, this country, this place, like everywhere else is okay. But it's not true. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in all of our countries. Mary Judah says the people who earn their money do take care to keep it. That's not the case with him or Elon. They're already the rich from their family. See, that's the thing. A lot of times when you hear about these people being rich and stuff, like they already went to like the best schools. They had the best networks, the best access, right? Kate says Canada is way worse than when we were kids. Homeless camps in more and more cities, Hamilton, London, Toronto, Vancouver, and the RCMP terrorized their camps. Oh, it's heartbreaking. I feel like COVID really turned the world upside down, it's just so sad. We still haven't recovered. Housing support is way worse in London because of the amount of people there. Yeah, big cities, it's tough in big cities. Health is wealth. I completely agree. Now, on that note, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's morning report. I look forward to seeing you for tomorrow's morning report, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As a reminder, you can join me in 30 minutes on Kempire's channel, where we will be talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac. And then after that, I will be doing a video, a live stream, reading the full complaint. I think I might have to cancel my Pilates class tonight to get through the full complaint. Let me take a look at what time it is. I'll communicate with you guys in the community tab of my YouTube video. Listen, you guys, I had terrible sleep last night, so my brain is fried. But in the meantime, again, thank you so much for joining me. See you again very, very soon. Take good care. I will be back again live 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. 25th, there will be no morning report, but I'll be back in action on the 26th and for the rest of the week as well. Okay, you guys, take good care of yourselves. And also shout out to you, my playback posse, my VOD squad, for watching after the fact. Bye, guys. Happy holidays.